I'm Heather Smith and welcome to the Accounting Apps podcast, exploring the accounting and business apps community. Today I'm bringing you live interviews from the Festival of Accountants and Bookkeepers in Birmingham, March 2024. The event was hosted by the brilliant people from the UK premier online accounting news, accountingweb.co.uk. I'd encourage you to add accountingweb.co.uk to your reading list and connect with my two favourite UK accounting technology journalists, Tom Herbert and Richard Hattersley. If you subscribe to my Accounting Apps newsletter, you'll note that I frequently curate articles from accountingweb.co.uk. The festival was an absolute delightful event. The organisers did a swell job of adding the festival flavour to the event. Lots of big, bold, bright colours. Yellow Wizard of Oz pathways, greenery draped walls, spacious colourful picnic tables and tea and bickies in the quiet areas. There were lots of special touches. At one of the green fern walls at a certain time of the day, if you rang the bell, a hand reached through with a glass of champagne. Intimate event stages, debating platforms and food vans. I think the only thing they were missing was a maypole dancing. It was a really easy conference to navigate and it gave me the wonderful opportunity to meet people in real life whom I've known online for many years. Plus lots of big, colourful photo ops, which we all love. I was very grateful to the conference organisers who gave me 5 speaking slots. Yes, that was my first time speaking in the UK, so it was very exciting for me, but I probably overcommitted on the speaking slots and should maybe have a rule in place that I only do a maximum of 3 across 2 days. Please remind my future self that. This podcast is the first in a 3-part series. In this podcast, I'm sharing a collection of interviews I did from the floor. As always, I'd like to remind you to stay up to date with the curated content I'm sharing by signing up to the Accounting Apps newsletter, available at heathersmithau.com, and joining the Accounting Apps Mastermind group. I hope you enjoy the conversations. Thank you so much for joining us on the Accounting Apps podcast. Can you share with us who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Of course I can. I'm Will Rush. I'm the General Manager for XBert in the UK. I joined XBert officially about a week ago, but we've been working with XBert for a few months in the background, kind of devising the launch for the UK platform. But I've been working with accounting vendor, accounting apps for the last 6 or 7 years, across various different guises with Ignition and Pixie as well, but now kind of launching XBert in the UK.
Fantastic. Oh, what does devising the English launch involve? Do you have secrets that you can share with us that no one will tell?
I can't share that with all the other apps. All of my secret go-to-market plans, I can't share those with the other UK apps. But yeah, essentially just kind of speaking to a few accountants and making sure that the product is landing well with them, essentially, and having interviews, taking them through the product, getting them to jump in and trial it and make sure that the product works for them here in the UK. Obviously, XBert's been going for a number of years in Australia, but wanted to really get down to the nitty-gritty with UK accountants and make sure that the alerts that we were pulling through were relevant for them. So I spent a couple of months just speaking to people and getting some feedback and helping Aaron and Troy kind of develop the product a little bit more for the UK market.
So can you talk in any sort of detail to sort of the particular alerts that are going to be relevant for our UK listeners?
Yeah, I think the core one is obviously VAT.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's obviously prevalent here and not really prevalent in Australia, but making sure that invoices are charged with the correct VAT on there. We have a few other reports that are generic around sort of duplicate invoices, duplicate bills, duplicate payments, but mostly it's the tax side of things that's obviously specific to each region, and making sure that that's effective. But now with the advent of our custom experts, it makes it even easier for the UK accountants to kind of build what they want to see and see what they want to see.
Absolutely, that should be quite exciting. So do you have anything, we're sort of sitting in March, anything sort of think that's on the timeline over the next 9 months that you're looking at introducing an XBert for the audience in the UK?
100%. I think, well, globally, I think as well. So obviously we've just launched the custom experts and are really pushing that in every market. But the advent of that has then involved us giving the ability to build those experts in natural language.
Yes.
And that's in beta at the moment. So there's a few accountants in Aussie testing that out for us, and that should be launched over the next couple of weeks everywhere globally. So rather than having to play with filters and devise what you want to see, you type in, a bit like your talk yesterday on ChatGPT. You type in a question, what you want to see. If it's you want to see that there's a variance in their profit and loss, or you want to see that there's issues with different revenue streams or variance in different revenue streams, you can type that question into XBert and it will build the XBert alert for you and customize that. But also we're doing a lot of work in the background on capacity. So capacity planning, I think, is a real big issue for a lot of firms everywhere in the world, not just the UK. With XBert, you've got the ability to track your time, obviously, and put estimated time against that. But what we're looking to build in the background is being able to then ask XBert, what's my staff's availability? I've got X person off on leave next week. Who can I allocate their work to? When am I going to be at capacity for all of my bookkeeping work? So when do I need to hire someone or outsource that work to someone else? So really giving the accountants that visibility across their whole practice to know when they can bring on new team members or expand the business.
Really powerful stuff.
Really powerful, yeah.
So we're at the FAB,
yes,
Festival of Accountants and Bookkeepers. What's one thing that you've liked about the festival?
The yellow. Everything's very yellow. I think it's
follow the yellow brick road.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, follow the yellow brick road all the way to the end to the AI stage to see us as well, right? But I think it's a little bit different to the other events where there's a few new vendors, which is great. It's nice to see new apps in the marketplace and new people to speak to and new partners potentially for XBert and new partners for the accounting firms. It's been... Everyone that we've spoken to has been really engaged. And I think that having the different areas and the different stages as well with different talks so people can kind of choose what they want to go and listen to. It's not all content on one theme. There's lots of different themes so people can jump around. Having it over 2 days I think helps as well because then people can kind of plan out their days. Like yesterday they might have focused on bookkeeping, but today they might come and listen to the AI talks as well. So
I could happily be here a week. Do you think we should ask them to extend it?
I don't know if I could stand on a stand and talk for a week, but I'll do my best.
With all this innovation, you think we'd have sorted out how to stand on a stand for a week, wouldn't you?
Right? I did a conference in the US and it was 4 days, and that was full on for 4 days talking to people constantly. But it was good fun. It's good fun, and obviously you can get more content in over that amount of time as well, right? And you can have more parties.
Yeah, well, it's more networking, connections, filling in the pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly that.
Thank you so much, Will, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. My name's Tim. I've been listening to your podcast for about 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Is it that long?
Much, Tim.
I mean, I was pretty early.
7 or 8 years, yes.
Yeah, you seem to have been there from the year dot. So you're Australian? Yeah. You live in Australia?
Yeah.
You just come to UK for...
I came for a 90th birthday and this happened to be at the same week.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing, yes.
Are you speaking today?
I've got an Excel spreadsheets debate just around the corner at about midday.
Excel spreadsheet debate?
Excel versus software debate.
Who is left using Excel?
John Toon. He's the who's who I'm debating.
If it's a complex, sometimes it might be needed for big, complex things. Yeah. Well, have a good day. I look forward to hearing you on stage. Are you waiting for the job to come out?
No. I'm waiting for Alex. Alex Falcon Huerta.
Oh, yeah, I know Alex.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on the Accounting Apps podcast. Can I ask you to share who you are and where you work?
Sure. So my name's Lucy Cohen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mazuma, and we specialise in subscription-based accounting for small and micro businesses.
Fantastic. Now, can you share with our audience where that's based?
We're based in the UK.
Oh, okay. You work across the UK?
Yeah, all across the UK, yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So what do you do in that role?
So my role has changed significantly since I started it. I founded the company when I was 23. So that is nearly 18 years ago now. I know. So from that time, I've gone from being just a technician, doing, as a lot of people do who found their own firms, you start doing the work, and then you grow into a manager and then a leader. And we this year received investment for our technology development, the development of our tech platform. And so now I guess I'm formally the CEO.
Wow. That is such an incredible story, especially starting a business at 23. Now, I don't come across many people in the UK who actually run businesses other than when I come to conferences like that. Was that unusual? Were you in an entrepreneurial lifestyle with other people around doing that?
Yeah, it is fairly unusual, I'd say, especially in accountancy. It's very young to start an accountancy firm. My family are not from the business world, but they are creatives. So they're all kind of actors, dancers, musicians, artists. So I was very used to that kind of self-employed mindset, that gig economy type feeling. So it didn't feel a million miles away to what I was used to growing up to start a business, but the whole point of starting Mazuma was to fix the problems they faced with money, because you had this kind of boom and bust cycle. Someone lands a gig, you've got money, then it's then you're without, and I wanted to kind of solve that, hence subscriptions, and hence specialising in the sort of people who are just not great at their taxes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the gig economy is something that has ballooned nowadays, but back then the people in the creative industry were leading in the gig economy just because that was all they could actually, that was the way it worked those days. So you were really on a nice wave there.
Yeah, and I think it was just the lived experience of it. As a kid, I saw that happening. I remember the kind of annual schlep of my dad to the accountant's office, and it was really stressful. He had this like accordion file full of old receipts. He'd go to the accountant. He wouldn't know what he was going to get charged. He wouldn't know what his tax bill was going to be. He was stressed out for like 3 weeks as a deadline approached. And I just remember thinking the whole time I grew up, this is ridiculous. Like, there has to be a better way of doing this. So when I kind of found myself in accountancy, which was sort of by accident, I figured that, well, actually, this is my chance to change it. So that's what I did.
I love it, love it, love it. So you have mentioned that you have just received some funding for the business. That is so rare to receive funding as a female. So congratulations on that. What started you on that journey, and what would you say to yourself that, looking back on, what did you need to know that would have helped you on that journey?
So really interesting one. The reason we went on the journey was we've always wanted to kind of grow, and you can accelerate growth. Now we know the kind of formula we need to do that. Cash is going to help accelerate that. It also doesn't solve all your problems, but it does kind of lubricate the wheels of growth. It makes things a bit easier. But we're also developing a technology platform, and it's very hard to develop technology at the rate of cash, because what we want to do with it involves a real front loading of development time, and you just can't do that at the rate of cash when you're running a business. So it's been a really strange mindset to go from having almost 18 years of bootstrapping through to suddenly having money and being expected to deploy this. It's very strange. I'm still kind of sat there going, oh, it seems expensive. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll just put that shelf together myself or something. It's a really strange mindset to shift out of. So that's the reason we wanted to go for the investment. I think in terms of the journey, when we started on the in kind of investment circuit, and you go and you pitch and you talk to people and you take meetings, endless meetings, and you tell your story so many times, and you have to hear people who know nothing about you criticize you and all that kind of stuff, and that's part of the course. Like, that's fine. At the start of the journey, I'd have told you I was ready for the money. But actually, having been through the process and the due diligence, now I'm ready for it. I think part of that process actually equips you for what you need to do, and it is painful, and it is some days you do feel like you're about to have a nervous breakdown, but actually it builds you to what you need to do. I'm definitely a different leader than I was 9 months ago. Fantastic.
And it was a 9-month journey.
Yeah, 9 months, yeah.
And I do think that when you listen to these Shark Tank and these pitches that they have at the entrepreneurial centres, listening to them and just trying to apply them to yourself can be somewhat beneficial. Not that I'm suggesting for you to do that.
Yeah, but it's remembering as well, these processes take time. If you think, I need to raise money in 18 months, you need to start now. Like, you've got to start talking to people now and figuring it out, because you might not be a match for the funds. All these funds have different remits of what they want to invest in. You have to go and find the ones that match. You have to get on with them. You have to trust them. You have to go through all the legals. Our due diligence process took, I think, nearly 5 months. These things take a huge amount of time and effort, and I kind of, whilst I knew it was going to be time consuming, actually the effort and the emotional toll it takes on you is something that I think people aren't aware of.
Yes, absolutely. Alex, do you have any questions?
I mean, I love your story, and
Thanks.
I think it's absolutely amazing, and I feel very, very proud of you. And I have like a bit of a strange question, because I support my clients going through some due diligence themselves. And so what kind of like technology or software did you actually use to exchange data? Sounds strange. It's just that I know that information is highly confidential.
Yeah.
So is there any platforms that you had to implement or any technology?
I actually can't remember the name of the data room we use, which is terrible, isn't it? But my co-founder Sophie led on doing all that. But we use an encrypted, secure data room, so everything was in there, and that's how we exchanged all the data for it, because it's a central point. It's the single point of truth, and it's secure, and that's why we did it. We weren't flinging things over on emails or WhatsApp. It was all through the data room.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I just know how easy it is to send a document via email because it's quick.
No, data room all the way with proper referencing. Like, it's got to be that way, and also so everyone knows you're working to the same versions of things. That's really important, and it just avoids awkward conversations and confusion. So get a data room, definitely.
Sensational question. Thank you for that, Alex. So we're here at the Fab Festival. What's something that you've liked about the Fab Festival?
I've been really delighted with the vibe here. So it's got the buzz, it's got the kind of community feel, you've got people excited to see each other, but you've got really nice spaces for people who get a bit of overwhelm. So we're sat, as we're talking here, in the secret garden. It's not so secret, but there's a lot of trees here, and it's really nice because it's slightly quieter. It's away from the main floor. I think if you've got neurodivergency or sensory or hearing issues, it's nice to be able to get away from that. We're able to record a podcast here. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And also the layout's really great. You've got this kind of central stage and sort of pods off the sides of it. I just think it's more of a festival feel than it is an expo feel. So I think if that's what they were trying to achieve, I'd say probably mission accomplished.
Yeah. It's been such a delight to meet you, Lucy. It's one of the highlights of coming to Birmingham.
You say that
festival.
to everyone.
So thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
You're very welcome.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Looking for additional revenue streams that are low touch but add value for your clients in 2024? Get rewarded when you refer businesses through to Employment Hero's cloud-based HR and payroll platform. You can unlock additional revenues with a 10% commission on successful referrals. Learn more by visiting employmenthero.com/become-a-partner. In a recent webinar, the brilliant Cassandra Scott of Loris Bookkeeping explained how her practice leverages XBert's AI-powered workflow automation to elevate their services. Cassandra shared how XBert identified duplicate payments worth $3,000 in a client's high-volume transactional data, something that would have been nearly impossible for a human to catch. XBert uses AI to analyse client data in an intelligent way, looking at over 80 different audit and risk detection points. Cassandra went on to share how she mapped out her first 10 workflows in just 30 minutes, improving consistency across her team. XBert empowers practices to standardise workflows and processes, and an update can be instantly deployed across all areas. Finally, Cassandra showed how data-driven visibility helps her optimise work and improve quoting. Using XBert's insightful practice management reporting and analytics, you no longer need to price using a crystal ball. Cassandra has been in practice 18 years and acknowledges that XBert was the missing piece in her tech stack, and now that she's rolled it out, she's well positioned to grow her business. Come for the data quality, stay for the workflows, reap the benefits of the practice insights, and let XBert empower business efficiencies. Visit xbert.io to start your free 14-day trial. Hello and welcome to the Accounting Apps podcast. Can I ask, who are you and who do you work for?
My name is Donal Carr, and I'm part of the sales team here with BrightPay, with Bright Software Group, and I specifically work with BrightPay payroll. So I'm part of the payroll division. We are predominantly based in Ireland and the UK. We have basically how our system works is we're interlinking payroll and HR for businesses, for accountancy practices, to interlink your payroll and HR system for your client, essentially.
Awesome. Can you share any recent releases that the accounting and bookkeeping community should be aware of?
Yeah. Recently, about 12 to 15 months ago, we launched our fully cloud-based software. So we kind of moved away from a hosted system. Now, it's still an option for accounting and bookkeepers and businesses to have our hosted platform, but a lot of businesses now, existing clients and customers are looking at our fully cloud-based system, which is hosted in the cloud. So you're running your payroll on the browser, which was a big thing for us. It was a big thing, a lot of work by the development team to get it ready. So for the last 12 months and going forward. It's constantly being developed, and it's a very exciting time for the business.
Sensational. So you're here at the Fab Festival.
Yeah.
What's something that you've liked about the Fab Festival?
This was my first conference with at the Fab Festival. I know it's the first year that they're in Birmingham. So I think the atmosphere has been great this year. I feel like just the whole organisation of the event has been really, really good. Even we stayed yesterday evening and they had a little drinks reception, and there was accountants and bookkeepers here, and obviously all the different exhibitors. And yeah, I think the atmosphere and just the organisation of the event has been really, really good this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us on the Accounting Apps Podcast. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Heather. Thank you.
Awesome. Can I ask you to share who you are and who you work for?
Hello, Heather. My name's Chris Downing. I'm the Director for Accounts and Bookkeepers at Sage.
Fabulous. Can you let our audience know what Sage do?
Well, what does Sage not do? Well, as far as I'm concerned, Sage is a really powerful suite of tools for any accountant or bookkeeper. Everything from providing the tools to onboard clients in the best manner, so with Go Proposal in terms of proposal management, pricing, making sure you're delivering letters of engagement not only automatically but also being compliant as well, and as well as AML and KYC. They're always on top of people's minds, but actually, are we doing it well? And therefore we're trying to make that as digitized as possible, as also trying to remove some of the admin. But then also think about what Sage is renowned for: bookkeeping and payroll. So all those tools available in the cloud, able to support everyone from your small sole trader up to your multi-million pound businesses. And then if you're still getting paperwork through the door, auto entry enables the accountant or bookkeeper to basically scan your bank statements, your purchase invoices, your sales invoices, get them digitized and move that data into Excel or whatever bookkeeping tool you might want to use as a practice. But that's getting the data in. On the top of the minds of every accountant is, how do I do the compliance? Those year-end accounts, the tax returns, the personal tax returns.
Oh, on top of mind of the tax accountants. Yeah. Not every accountant.
No, okay. Oh, okay.
The tax accountants.
And those accountants who want to focus on those year-round compliance tools, we've got those tools available as well as in the cloud, and we provide those free of charge as well. So that's quite a unique factor. But for those accountants who are doing more, and I mean, when I say more, those conversations, the advisory themes, we've got Futurely. It's enabled to do the pretty pictures, the management accounts, as well as the automated cash flow forecast. So I think that's pretty a broad spectrum of services we can get from Sage.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that possibly well-rehearsed talk there. So does someone, and I don't need the exact pricings, but does someone when they subscribe get everything? Or do they get modules, or does it build out into what you need?
So, to be pretty honest, someone subscribing to Sage for the very first time gets almost everything free of charge. So we have, for Sage for Accountants, it's a suite of tools available, and the entry level is Sage Essentials. So with Sage Essentials, the accountant or bookkeeper will get accounting and payroll for their own practice to run their finances and pay their own employees. They have client management, because really client management is the most important tool when running a practice. Understanding the clients you have, their commitments, what they do, maintain the addresses, etc. They get the support they need. They're able to actually subscribe to bookkeeping solutions as they want to and get discounts. But also they get compliance tools free of charge, as well as a Go Proposal or proposal management, as well as letter engagements for a single client per month. So for those startup practices, it's key. Basically giving them all the tools they need on day one to not only delight their clients and that first iteration, but also give them the confidence of using those tools without maybe the financial commitment. Because any practice starting off from day one, yes, it's easier than it used to be, but at the same time, it's a case of what services do I want to buy in? You don't want that commitment. So we're trying to give them the best foot forward and break down all the barriers in terms of access to the greatest tech on day one.
Excellent. So how do you make your money then?
How do we make our money? Well, as part of Sage's, experience and notoriety, it's all about the support and the community. And if we basically work with accountants and bookkeepers in the right way, we delight them with the tools that they've got, they see the ease of use, naturally they'll start to, when they speak to their clients and want to sort of say, right, those Excel spreadsheets, I think you should really be using a bookkeeping tool. Not only will it make your life easier and make our lives better because we'll have access to the information, they're going to encourage the use of Sage Accounting. They will start to be using auto entry. They'll also be starting to use the payroll solutions. So it's all about giving the support they need. And also it's a case of people don't want to be buying bundles of software. So we enable the accountable bookkeeper to subscribe singly to the tools they need as and when they want to as well. So just try and make it as easy as possible to actually subscribe to the tools that we have, but also enable their clients to use those tools when they need them.
So Sage has been quite famous for acquisitions in the market. Are there any gaps that you think that predict that there may be an acquisition down the line for?
Well, to be really honest, I think we've probably done it. Because when you think about the needs of an accountant or bookkeeper, it's the proposal side. Well, Go Proposal was big news and it landed really well. Everyone wants to scan their purchase invoices, so auto-entry, that's sorted. We built our own compliance tools. So we built them very many years ago in the cloud and basically now come to the forefront of the needs of accountant and bookkeeper. And then when it comes to management accounts and pretty pictures and forecasting, well, Futurely ticks that box. Now, some people may say, well, what's missing? Well, there are probably two key themes missing at the moment. We have client management for accountants and bookkeepers. We provide that free of charge. But actually what they're striving for is jobs and task management and maybe client portals. So watch this space. It's a case of what we'll be building and releasing over the next 6 to 12 months to actually enhance what they already get. And then the big topic of the day, generative AI. Well, do you build, partner or buy? Sage has gone and partnered with the best. So Sage Copilot's working hand in hand with Microsoft, bringing the best services available to be part and parcel of the tools that you make available. So that's what you'll also be seeing this year as well.
Sensational. So what sort of, and I'm not sure if you have this information or not, but I'm a very ignorant and naive Australian. What sort of market penetration do you have here in the UK?
Well, Sage have always worked with accountants and bookkeepers as well as directly with business owners, because really you want that harmony in terms of providing the right solutions. So within Sage, we work with over 14,000 accountants and bookkeepers practices, and as well as I think the latest stats, we also provide pay slips to 40% of businesses who are using payroll as well. So it's a case of we have quite a broad footprint and access to accountants and bookkeepers and business owners in the UK.
Sensational. Sage globally, whereabouts are you working and operating or available globally? Just sort of as a big picture.
Yeah, so if you're a UK user of Sage, you probably just think Sage is that UK business that's been around forever. But Sage globally, we're now over a £2 billion business. We operate and service in 23 countries, but the primary countries to which people maybe relate to are places like Canada and North America. We're in European countries like Spain and France, because the e-invoicing is particularly important, as well as South Africa as well.
Okay. Asia?
Asia, not particularly at the moment, but it's in an emerging market.
Yeah, that's interesting. It interests me about Asian markets. So, we're at the Fab Festival. What's something that you've liked about attending the festival today?
What I love about the Fab Festival is the fact it's the community spirit, it's the energy. I love almost the flow of all the attendees and the stands as well. It's not very grid walk type and also the fact it's got the variety of the talks as well.
Yes.
So if you want to sort of catch up on your compliance, you can do so. Listen to what the budget is all about, or check in with anti-money laundering. If your AI is the top of the mind, there's been some great talks around that, as well as the talks from the actual technology providers in terms of what they're delivering as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us on the Accounting Apps podcast. Really enjoyed having you with us today.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Hello, and welcome to the Accounting Apps podcast. Richard, can I ask you to share with our listeners who you are and who you work for?
Right, so my name is Richard Sargent. I'm the MD for a business called Principal Point, based here in the UK, and my clients are all the vendors. So anybody who has a product to sell to accountants or bookkeepers.
Yeah, and you're absolutely the person the vendors all need to know, aren't you?
Well, yes, exactly.
So what does your business do?
My aim is to try and help vendors become world-class to accountants and bookkeepers. I think accountants and bookkeepers deserve world-class vendors, and my job is to try and help them get there. So I'm not marketing, I'm not sales. I do a lot of training and education. I do a lot of positioning work with them. And it's really about trying to make sure that they're not just building products, but then helping to communicate out properly.
And it is a big issue that sometimes the vendors are so deep in building, they're not aware of what's actually going on around them.
Or they front-end sales and marketing, and then they forget all the love that's needed afterwards. So there's a lot of issues at the moment around things like value for money, getting the most out of the products we're buying, optimizing our existing tech stack, and all those things I think are big issues
Yeah, absolutely.
that vendors need to get hold of as well.
What does a day-to-day look like for you, Richard?
Well, I work mainly on projects, so it depends. I rarely have quiet days, I have to admit, but at the moment I'm working on some good projects which is involving research with customers. So investigating different levels of customers within one of my clients at the moment, and then we'll use that to produce some reports. A lot of talking, a lot of listening. So it just kind of depends really what I'm up to at any given time.
What are the triggers that a vendor should be getting in contact with you?
I think the main reason people do get in contact with me is to either, I've been around for a while, so I've been doing this for about 20 odd years or so. So I know a lot of people and I know a lot of things. So hopefully it's about being a sounding board for people. And I often get invited in to kind of run my eye over things or to get asked questions. So it's do you need another view on something? And the other thing is that I think we've got some great salespeople, great marketing people, great developers, but they don't necessarily know a lot about accountants and bookkeepers. So one of the things which I run is called Accountants 101, which is a training course on what accountants do for whom and why. And that's designed for any level within a business and any level of experience. So CEOs down to people who are just fresh in.
Yeah. I think that's really important for people in that space to go through, because we hate walking into a session and them talking down to us and saying, I bet you wish you weren't an accountant. Well, we're going to save you from doing accounting. And you're like going, I've spent my life being an accountant.
Well, they think that simple things like you're only busy in the UK in December and January because that's when the tax season is. It's like, well, actually being in practice is about being busy all the year through. It's just that sometimes they're even more intense than others.
Yes.
So it's that kind of building of empathy as well as anything else, which is a really important part of that.
Sensational. So we're here at the Fab Festival. What's one thing that you've liked about the festival?
The vibe, it's amazing. It's really positive, isn't it? I mean, it's not packed, but it's busy. And there are a lot of people talking to each other. There's lots of space for people to kind of group and huddle, and I think it's just got a very positive energy to it. I haven't felt that at an exhibition for a long time. There's usually people trudging a little bit around. And
I'm finding people very overdressed.
Well, it's Birmingham, it's the NEC, people dress up here, what can I say?
But in terms of what you're saying for people who are listening, there's lots of segmented areas that you can kind of go off and be in, and there's lots of posh chairs to sit in as well. Well,
we're in the bookkeeping retreats right now, which is an area, and there's big barrels with bar stools sitting around, and there's some comfy chairs.
And do you know about the Prosecco wall? See that wall there?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a sign up there, and at the time on the sign, you ring the bell, and a hand comes through that wall with Prosecco.
You wonder why people are overdressed. You've got to go with it.
I've never seen that at a conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, isn't it? I mean, there's so much thought and effort to try and make it different and enjoyable, and I think it really stands out.
It's the detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's those small detail things that you just kind of walk along and discover there's a hand with Prosecco.
I tell you something, if this is your first experience of an accounting and bookkeeping conference, the next one you go to might seem like a bit of a disappointment.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard, for talking to me. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, just look for Richard Sargent, especially on LinkedIn. That's usually kind of where I hang out. Principal points in my business. So, yeah, I'm usually very easy to get hold of.
Fabulous.
Lovely to see you, Helen.
Oh, a bookmark. Fabulous. I am very on brand. Can we get a photo of me with this bookmark?
It was disappointing. You didn't go.
Hi, did you guess who that last person was? That was Mark Lee of the famous Bookmark Lee, and he had just published some bookmarks, and I think I was the first person to get one. How lucky am I? So that was Bookmark Lee, and he is a mentor and coach for UK accountants. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the Accounting Apps podcast and look out for the next 2 episodes that are coming out, which are the debates that I participated in during the festival. And it would be great if you leave a 5-star review, but no one ever does. But anyway, I'll ask. Thank you.